the acidity in those juices really mesh well with the taste of oregano. I mean, we have people making their own special marinara spaghetti sauce and putting drops of oregano. You can also do kind of a shot, like an immune shot, with a little bit of ginger, oregano, some apple cider vinegar, a little bit of lemon
Right.
down the hatch, and you're good. So a lot of people ask us, how long can I take the oregano? And because we are very intentional about things like carbacrol can't be too high, also thymol has to be very low. And
Right.
because we're understanding of that, and of course sourcing it wild with the 4 species blend, and we're very careful with the carrier oil, that the ratio that's there, so you don't have too much oregano. Because if you took oregano oil by itself with no carrier, well, I don't want you to stick around and find out what happened. It's very uncomfortable and unpleasant.
Welcome back to the Healthy Habit Podcast. I'm Dr. Dayan, your host of Healthy Habit Medical Center, and we are talking with Stephen Harkins. He is back with us, folks, the Director of Education at North American Herb and Spice. Stephen, what's been going on? Welcome back to the show. How have you been since our last discussion?
Oh, everything's great. It's an honor and privilege to be on the show. It always is. I always enjoy this. I look forward to it every month. And everything's going well. We've been very busy, which is a good thing for business. And my on a personal note, my wife is almost at 37 weeks.
Wow,
So maybe by
congratulations,
the
man.
next time we talk, I'll have some good news for everybody.
Amazing. Thanks for keeping us updated. It's like we've been talking to you for many years now, so it's like a good friend, Thanks for coming in for the monthly check-in. So back to school's on the radar now. We got the up, a lot of people are still getting even the wave of the C virus, C19, but now it's C23, I guess we got to call it, and other things. So many people are coming in nowadays with congestion and sore throat and a lot of different issues here as we transition into the fall. So today we're going to be going in on the discussion on how to best support our immune system in the most optimal way with natural medicines that people may have not tried yet. So let's dive right in.
Let's do this.
First up on the radar, Stephen, I want to talk about Oregano Super Strength Oil. There's soft gels as well. And this is going to be giving you even extra potent oregano, not just like the P73. Let's differentiate that and let's dive right in. Oregano Super Strength.
Yeah, it's a great place to start because if there's anything you take away from this presentation today, I hope that it's the oregano, which to us is the king of immune support. And so that's what we want you to look at first and foremost. And yes, oregano P73, what is that? So it sounds very scientific. What it is, we actually source the oregano much differently than everyone else. We go to the mountains where it grows on its own, without the help of humans, without farming. But we do need a partnership with the villagers who live there to hand pick it from the slopes of the mountains. So we're talking about 4 different species. There are 80 plus species of oregano all over planet Earth. And we found 4 that we researched that have the best beneficial properties for your immune system. And we put that together in a blend. We call it P73. It's wild from the mountains.
And how is this going to be differentiated from maybe other oregano products on the shelf? Tell us about that number 73. That's big.
Yeah, so then we get into the main compound that supports your immune system, which is called carvacrol. Carvacrol. And that compound, you have to be careful with the balance of that because it's so aggressive, and it needs to be to help your military system, your immune system. However, ours stays in a natural balance. Its average is 73% carvacrol, which is what you find in nature in the mountains. You don't want to go really over 84%. So our range is between 70 and 80, 73% being usually where we fall.
So there's the oil, just straight up liquid with the tincture bottle, and then there's also soft gel options, correct?
Correct.
So
Yeah,
go ahead.
I was just going to say, daily use is something that we like to tout. I know that that's usually a question at FAQ that comes up around oregano. So we can dive into that, but sorry to interject there.
No, absolutely. What's a good starter for someone? The oil, I know it's intense. Maybe starting with the soft gel, or what's the most common approach there?
Yeah, it's interesting. We've all been there. We've all had our first time for everything. And if you're not an herb taker, or if you haven't tried things like oregano and black seed oil before, now they have a spicy taste, especially in their essential oil form. They're so concentrated. But you can, of course, do this in a soft gel where you don't taste it. And we like the oils because you can go topical and whatnot. But if it's your first time, ease into it. We'd rather you take it than not take it at all. The soft gels are there. I think grandma and grandpa will appreciate that as well. And you don't have to taste the spiciness of it. But of course, you can put it in things like tomato juice or grapefruit juice. And, the acidity in those juices really mesh well with the taste of oregano. I mean, we have people making their own special marinara spaghetti sauce and putting drops of oregano. You can also do kind of a shot, like an immune shot, with a little bit of ginger, oregano, some apple cider vinegar, a little bit of lemon
Right.
down the hatch, and you're good
Right.
from that.
So that carver crawl you're saying is responsible to 73%. It's you don't necessarily want all the way up to 95% strength of carver crawl. It could be toxic too much,
No,
correct?
too much. I would urge against that. Personally, me as a consumer, if I see anything over 84%, I'm running, I'm doing a 180, I'm going straight to North American. Not all are, I wouldn't knock every single brand out there.
Right.
But I would say, you have to be careful with what nature decides the percentage should be, because if you go above it, especially with carbacrol, it could be too much of a good thing, and it could be potentially toxic to your liver, and it could certainly be harmful to your gut microbiome. And you don't want to lose the beneficial probiotics there. So a lot of people ask us, how long can I take the oregano? And because we are very intentional about things like carvacrol can't be too high, also, thymol has to be very low. And
Right.
because we're understanding of that, and of course, sourcing it wild with the 4 species blend, and we're very careful with the carrier oil, that the ratio that's there, so you don't have too much oregano. Because if you took oregano oil by itself with no carrier, well, I don't want you to stick around and find out what happened. It's
Yeah.
very uncomfortable and unpleasant. So you can take ours. A lot of us here, we do it. I had some this morning. We're doing, about 3, 4 drops almost every day, just to keep ourselves proactively healthy.
And you can feel this. I've taken this multiple times. Once you take that throughout the day, you just feel your sinuses more clear and open. You almost feel your immune system working to protect you from it because it's so intense of a taste. It ramps up that immune system to protect you from any invaders as we get into the cooler months here. Tell us about terpenes a little bit more, Stephen. What is terpenes? Why is it so important?
Interesting you bring that up. Yeah. So when we talk about beneficial compounds, it's almost never, ever just one compound. Plants are more complicated than that. And so, oregano, for example, our oregano, we've tested it, it has over 30 different compounds, all of which have beneficial properties. Terpenes are what is a lot of times the smell of an herb,
Right.
that aromatic type of sensation. That's the terpenes. So if you're smelling cinnamon and that beautiful, pleasant aroma, that is the terpenes. Lavender, when you smell that lavender, it's a terpene called linalool that helps with anxiety and things like that. Linalool is actually found in oregano, by the way. Who would have thought? But you've got limonene, you've got pinene, which is often found in pine, is
Yeah.
found in oregano. And so you've got this beautiful bouquet that we preserve for you of terpenes, and they add more benefits and antioxidants to the mix.
Folks, you can head over to NorthAmericanHerbandSpice.com. That's herb, not urban, but herb, Herb. Or you can even go to Oreganol.com, as you see on the screen here. Oregano with an L at the end.com. Purchase from them directly, or you can come to Healthy Habit. Healthy Habit Health Food Stand. The demo man's in house, and he's giving a special. Purchase of any two products that Stephen and I are discussing today or in any previous episodes, and you'll get a free book authored by the late great Dr. Cass Ingram. Do you want to give a quick shout out to Dr. Cass? It's so
Always.
weird not having him around. It's unbelievable. Any thing that stands out to you from Dr. Cass? A lot of people ask about him to this day.
I can still hear his voice in my head almost every day. He was a teacher, he was a mentor, he was like a second uncle. He was a great friend, and he was one of the hardest working individuals that I've ever met. I think he slept like 4 hours a night. He wrote many books, all of which are easy to read, but also just will blow your mind away. You don't see books like this. You don't see natural substances being dived into in the way that he presents it. So if you have a chance to get a book, I mean, I would pay for it full price, but to get it free, you've got an invaluable resource. That's a little piece of his mind for you, and he's helped a lot of people. He's worked with a lot of people, and a lot of them are well today, and we still hear from them all the time.
Right. Again, come talk to Stan the Demo Man here in house. We're at 6029 North 7th Street in Phoenix. You can even call us 602-252-6000 and ask about how do I get a Dr. Cass Ingram book. Is there a website that they can go to for Dr. Cass's library to
There
buy
is,
books?
yeah, cassingram.com
Perfect.
is that website.
I'll link that below, folks, cassingram.com. So that was Oreganol Super Strength, Stephen. What's a good stack with that, meaning a combo? What's a good one? Maybe Orega Resp or Orega Biotic. Maybe we can add one of those two to that Oregano Super Strength. Which one would you consider first?
So this is where you have to ask yourself, as someone who's considering it for your body, for your family, what is it that I want to work on? It could be the respiratory tract. In that case, the Orega Rest would be most appropriate for you. For example, if you have gut issues, then you've got them. And by the way, 80% of the immune system is located in the gut. So if there's issues there, you're going to have certainly issues with your immune response. That gut support product is called Orega Biotic. And so that's a slow release capsule from beeswax that actually bypasses the stomach acid and then releases all of these great spices like oregano and bay leaf and sage directly where it's needed, where a lot of those bacteria and intestinal bugs like to hang out. Inflammation likes to hang out. So if you've got gut problems, look at Orega Biotic. If your lung and respiratory system needs a tune-up, check out the Orega Resp, which, by the way, I have some right here. And I like to just proactively take like one of these every once in a while. We even have a bubble gum dispenser full of them in our break room. And also it was our number one seller during 2020 and 2021. And so
Wow.
that
Yeah.
could come into play this season as well.
Yeah, that's a classic right there. That was in a lot of our formulas here the last couple years, especially with sinus congestion and wheezing. A lot of people that whenever they take a breath, they get the wheezing or pain in the chest
Oh
or in the
yeah.
upper back. So let's dive a little bit more then into the Orega Resp, since you just had it up there. If you can hold it up one more time.
Yeah.
Orega like oregano, and then Resp like respiratory. What's from top to bottom, what's in this formula and making it as strong as it is?
Okay, for you basketball lovers out there, we have the starting lineup, and if we were introducing them, we'd have Oregano, of course, being like your point guard. We'd have that first, followed by cumin, sage, cinnamon, and ginger. And so these are 5 herbs and spices that we personally tested and we found the best results in. So we put them all together in one formula. And so the idea here is that this is a massive antioxidant formula. So when it comes to natural repair of the body, that's what you want and that's what your body needs, your organs. Also, when it comes to breathing better, supporting that oxygenation, these herbs help to do that. Inflammation, supporting the natural response when inflammation is present here, and you'll know
Yeah.
when it is. And then, of course, if you've got things like mucus and congestion just trapped here, and you're rattling every time you cough, and you want to get that phlegm outside of the body. Certain herbs like cumin, sage, and oregano really help with that. And so it's really just kind of an all-around formula for immune as well as respiratory.
Amazing. So Orega Resp, again, that comes in capsules as well as a liquid as well, or is it just the capsule version?
So the strongest version, which I would liken to a super strength, is in the capsules. And then those are the dry capsules. Those are the 30 count and the 90 count sizes that you carry there at the store.
Hmm.
These are the ones that, it's kind of like for me, it's go big or go home. But we do have a liquid, which I also like, and then can also be used in children and elderly.
Right.
And of course, freshens your breath. It's got that cinnamon in there as well.
So again, oregano, we have cumin, we have sage, cinnamon, and ginger, correct?
Correct.
Yeah, that ginger is a good last one to throw in there. With works really well with cinnamon. So when people hear of cinnamon, it's usually for maybe blood sugar support. Tell us a little bit more about then cinnamon. Why is it included in a respiratory formula?
So cinnamon is like that basketball player that doesn't get enough credit,
Okay.
constantly putting up good stats, not flashy, but always there when you need it. And so the cinnamon actually has immune supporting properties. I mean, if you look up cinnamon antiviral scholar, you'll see some studies where, cinnamon has a direct impact on viruses.
Wow.
And that's, we wouldn't think just a common spice that the whole world uses would be, the case. And it is important to note as a manufacturer that not just any old cinnamon will do. You really, we as people who source these things, you really got to find the Ceylon cinnamon, because there's the cassia and the Ceylon. Ceylon is the one that really ramps up those benefits for you. And that's what we use in our formulations.
Perfect. And then we mentioned the Oregabiotic a few moments ago, more specific for gut health, you were saying. So, especially for small intestine like SIBO, where you get an overgrowth of the bad bacteria in the gut, maybe this would play a role then in preferentially like keeping the good bacteria around while trying to eliminate the bad bugs. Is that a good way to look at it?
I believe so. I can say this, we have a network of practitioners, like yourself, Dr. Dehan, that, we keep in contact with and who use our products. And what we see is that they deal with gut health all the time. It's something that's very central to a lot of their protocols. And when I've spoken with them, they mention that they do appreciate that slow release because all of their patients need something to penetrate deeper down where all the problematic trouble is. And so that is the beauty of it, the slow release. If you were to take an oregano soft gel, it's going to support your immune system, but the stomach acid is going to hit it right away. But if you take this one, you can actually deliver the oregano and the other spices deep down where, a lot of your, I would say of course, we have to be very careful with our claims. FDA does not allow us to bring up things like diseases and whatnot. But a lot of the practitioners we work with find value with it for a lot of the common complaints that you see around gut health today.
Amazing. One that I like using is the Orega spray. That one's because it mixes it up instead of just oral supplements. You can spray that in the air. Like I use that here in the office. Would you? That can potentially help to support all these other ones with it. Maybe
Yeah,
keep it in the
that's a
car.
personal one. That's an item of mine. I have one in the car. During the time of the pandemic, I sprayed my hands, I disinfected. I sprayed my mask because I had to wear that. But it's practically for your home and also for travel. We make sure we always have a bottle. It's sanitizing, it's cleansing, and it goes back to this ancient technique called fumigation, which they've
Right.
been using since the Black Plague back, all that time ago. So
But yeah, I wanted to just sneak that in as a supplement to Biotic and Orega Biotic. I like that you mentioned how important it is to support the gut and the immune system, right? That's more and more emerging research we're getting on people with a horrible microbiome who get sick way more often than most of the population. So that's a
yeah,
good.
it's really an epidemic. There's a lot of factors. I guess we could spend an entire show just talking about that. But yeah, be very mindful of your gut health if you're listening in. That's a great place to start to rebuild yourself.
And then, as Dr. Cass Ingram used to say, up the schnozola is for the Sinuarega. So let's hear about this product. This is
Yeah.
straight up the nose.
Yeah, blasted out of Dodge. He had his whole his lines with
Yeah,
that. Yeah, so it's very simple. We all know what a nasal wash is all about. It's all about just getting something, spraying something up the nose. And in this time, what we're doing is we're saying, hey, water and sea salt, that's okay. What we want to do is up the ante with spice oils. And that the idea behind that is you have a sinus infection, you have a fungal infection. Let's put the spice oils in there and see how much better that is for you. And we have gotten amazing feedback over the years. It's consistently in our top five, great affordable price, and it works.
Especially if you're having that symptom where your nose sinuses are all tight, hence the name Sinuorrhea. Get the puffy eyes, maybe redness around the eyes, itchiness, watery eyes. That would be a good use for Sinuorrhea potentially, right?
Yeah, it'll clear you out like you wouldn't believe. I've used it with success many times. It's another travel item as well that I like to keep with me.
Right, that stuffy nose. That's a good one to take with you. Can you probably even take that on planes, right? It's not too big. You can
No, it's
slip that in.
2 ounce. We have a 2 and a 1 ounce, and you can take both on the.
Perfect. Perfect. That's a good one for a travel. If you're going to travel coming up or any recent trips coming up, you could take that one with you. So Sinuorrhea, we've also mentioned Orega Resp, Orega Biotic, and then the super strength. So it really depends, right? Like you said, it depends on what's going on specific. If you're dealing with a lot of GI issues and you want immune support, probably Biotic would be a better choice. Versus if you're specifically having chest, respiratory difficulties, sore throat, maybe the Resp or the Sinuorrhea. Anything you want to
Exactly.
add to that?
Yeah, I mean, sometimes we may have a Cyanurega and an oregano super strength, or we may have an Orega Resp and another thing we have with the water extract, our juice of oregano, where you have the oxygenated molecules combining with the oregano molecules. And so that's great for just, mucus and oxygenation. And you can pair that up with the Orega Resp. So yeah, sometimes you might use two. Sometimes you might put a vitamin C product with that too. We love
Right.
the nutrient and herb combination too.
Speaking of vitamin C, then maybe we can finish off here on Purely C, which is one of the only ones here at the store where we got purely whole food sourced vitamin C. So let's dive into Purely C.
Yeah, this goes way back to when Miss Judy, our owner and founder, when she used to work at Cancer Treatment Centers of America, and she was the director of nutrition, and all that she had available to prescribe or to give to her patients was synthetic vitamins and
Hmm.
minerals. And she saw firsthand with these really sick people that there was either no difference or they continued to get worse. So she looked into it more and she started seeing how synthetic vitamins are truly made,
Right.
and there's a lot of industrial processing going on that I don't think a lot of people know about or would be comfortable with if they knew a little bit more. So, vitamin C, for example, it's ascorbic acid in the synthetic form. And you also get like usually a chemical reaction between sulfuric acid and cornstarch. Whereas, and of course, it never sees the sun, it never sees the rain or the waters. But what we've got with a vitamin C like this, and I do have this with me,
Perfect.
my body needs a lot of vitamin C, so
Hmm.
I'm taking it quite a bit. It's really hard to overdose on vitamin C. That's the wonderful thing about it.
Yeah.
And of course, it tastes good. If you like sour fruits, you probably need vitamin C more in your life, like kiwi and things like that, strawberries. If you love those things, then your body loves that vitamin C. So it's immune support. It supports the healthy white blood cell count, but it's got the full complex from nature, and that means it's got things like copper and quercetin. If you've heard of that, it's in here. And then also, of course, further antioxidants like anthocyanins, which are amazing to keep your cells alive longer.
Right. And then we've even covered how important vitamin C is for the skin as well and collagen production in previous episodes. So,
So
how,
fascinating.
yeah.
Yeah, it
So,
is. It's important for the skin. For your energy, your adrenal glands actually need vitamin C as a nourishing fuel.
right.
So it helps your energy. Women during your menstrual times, vitamin C is a great hack. Keep things at bay,
Yeah.
and even blood vessel support. So if you're struggling in the cardiovascular area, vitamin C.
Right. The classic is scurvy if you're not getting enough vitamin C. But then
Bones.
that's full blown deficiency of vitamin C. But then there's this whole gray area before full blown scurvy where millions of people have that, where the teeth aren't as strong, the bones aren't as strong, the gums, the arteries,
Bleeding
right? So
gums.
there you
Yep.
go. Exactly. Premature aging of the skin and wrinkles and all this kind of stuff. So you want to stay ahead of the curve, right, with vitamin C?
You do, and you got to remember this is an antioxidant vitamin, and it's one of the vitamins that your body needs every day. It uses every day, which means you pretty much need it every day.
Amazing. Amazing. Coming into the last minute or two here, Stephen, what's a good take home then? Essentials for the immune toolbox here as we get into the colder months. By the time this episode airs, probably going to be mid October, somewhere there. So, what's a good take home from today's episode?
The take home, I think, practically is that I would say to my family, my friends, and to you is we're here for you if you catch something, but we're also here for you so that you don't catch something.
Amazing.
So be proactive. Don't wait till you feel terrible, and if you are proactive, you may get through the season unscathed, and so just be mindful of that. Remember, health starts in the gut as well. So if you got some issues there, check out the Oregobiotic. And yeah, you can never have too much vitamin C in your life. So add that with the oregano, and there you go.
Again, that purely C is a low dose whole food vitamin C. Like you said, it's hard to get side effects, especially from a whole food vitamin C. Like if you take too much of the synthetic one, you could get the loose stool and GI irritation, diarrhea, things like that. If you take too much of the ascorbic acid straight up, so that's an important take home there on vitamin C. So thank you so much for your time, Stephen, and the whole team there at North American Urban Spice as always. And I look forward to our next monthly check-in, my friend.
Thank you as well. And I hope you all have a wonderful immune season. God bless.
God bless, Stephen.